Thank you for, agreeing to meet with me. I'm really excited to interview you about this mural that you did for the Marriott.
Okay, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Just I'm in that period between projects, so I have a next my next project is in Chicago.
Oh,
So
okay.
you got to make sure that all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, especially for out of town projects, so that I
hmm
make sure I have everything when I get there. I'm ready to go when I land. So
Well, Chicago's exciting, so that's going to be completely different than Miami.
yes, yes, it'll be nice because I haven't been to Chicago in 15 years. I used to go all the time when I was in college. So I had a friend that went to Northwestern.
hmm
So we used to fly in during winter time and then all hop in a car, myself and a couple other people, and then we drive into Wisconsin and go snowboarding.
Oh,
So
that's nice. That's
it
nice.
was it was fun. Those were the good old days when flights were like $100, $150,
Definitely, definitely.
you know?
So, let's talk a little bit about the mural. Why did you decide to highlight Florida's wildlife and ecosystem for that specific mural?
Well, it just made sense. One, it kind of falls under one of the things I'm interested within my own work, right? So, one of the things that is very important in my work is the idea of sustainability, um, wildlife husbandry, is that the word? But basically, the idea that we're here on this earth as stewards to the planet, and we should take care of it, and we should use it, but in a sustainable manner. So we're not dwindling our resources, right? So I thought that that was important. The fact that the location was on the bay, so it was literally right there on an ecosystem. And then two or three, the other reason was when they started giving me a little bit of the history of the building and Marriott's approach, there was the idea of them trying to make the building as green as possible. So with all of those things in mind, and because I was already interested in that and a lot of the work that I create, it just made sense for me to highlight that.
So the location of the mural is by the pool. Is there a specific reason that you decided to put it by that pool, or was it just coincidence?
It was a coincidence. They actually called me and they said that they wanted to do a full wrap of the pool. So I gave them a design, which was a full wrap of the pool. They loved the design, but I guess after looking at it, I guess they thought it would be a little bit of an overkill. Although I thought it was beautiful, but it would have been a lot. It would have been a lot. The person, it was weird because there's so many blank walls and blank canvases surrounding that pool because there's not only the two walls that wrap around it, but it's like layered. So there's larger walls and taller walls behind it and around it. So I think that it was a supervisor or a manager that decided let's just do that wall that's on the right because that's the main focal point anyway. And when you're walking in from the building, you have to pass through like this area which is a little bit narrow, and that's the first thing you see. You see the pool, and you'll see the mural right behind the pool.
So now, in retrospect, do you think it was a good idea to put it on that wall?
I think both ways works. Honestly, I'm happy with the way it turned out. I'm curious to see what the feeling or how it would have felt in general to be in the space with that surrounding you on both sides. But I thought that this was a good compromise. Definitely a good
And
compromise.
yeah, I mean, if it's a focal point, that's the whole point of the mural, right? So people can
Exactly.
see it. So before them or when the Marriott told you, if you can make a mural, did you, when you studied the Marriott, did you think, okay, yeah, they need a mural of like this specific thing of like the wildlife and ecosystem in Florida?
No, not really. The thing that just made sense, as I said, was the fact that it's a green building. So I said, all right, if it's green, then they care about the resources. So I've been following this theme with my last few murals that I've done in the public spaces. The two that I did for FIU, there's one that I did for the Turnberry group. So I said that it just might make sense for this to be a continuation. And then on top of that, the other area that I focus on is more figurative work with people, but there are people wearing animal masks, and there's a lot of symbology behind that. But I just didn't think that that fit for that location. I wanted to do something that could relate to all people, whether they're from Florida, whether they're not from Florida, whether they're coming from out of the country, because when I was there, I saw a lot of foreigners there as well. So I thought that that was a more universal theme. That's something that we're all concerned about. Like, look at this year. This is the hottest year on record, right? So it's something that we're all thinking about. What's going on with the environment? What is our place in the environment? So it just made sense. And then the fact that when I got there and I saw the color palette of the building, I was like, these are the colors that I love to use anyway in that kind of work. And then walking past the pool and being able to see the bay on one side, and then they have a platform that's a little bit raised behind the pool where they do group yoga, and you can see the other side of the bay on the other side. I said, no, this has to be something that deals with nature.
So you talk about how the Marriott wants to be more eco-friendly, more green. Other than that, do you think the mural and the Marriott have something else in common than just like that theme of being, green and eco-friendly?
I think that based on what I've seen with the building, I think, and what I've seen with other Marriotts, they try to do a lot of the buildings and make them signature to where they're located. So I think that that's also important. Like when you look at the mural and you look at the plant life that are in the mural, that's all local plant life. That's all local fauna. There's what like aquatic plants there because I wanted to put some aquatic plants there because the bay was right there. There's aquatic animals. There's the dolphin that's there. There is the egret, which you could see anywhere living in Florida, not only on our waterways. And then there's the flamingo, which, Florida, you have to put in a flamingo somewhere, right? So I think that it's it's relevant to where it is, just like they design the building and they care about that same theme when they create or set up shop in whatever location that they decide to do so.
Do you have a favorite memory when painting the mural and creating it? Anything like any anecdote you can give us?
But my favorite thing with the public arts that I do is that I get to interact with the people that get to see it. So that was my favorite thing. Like I had people who'd come and they'd watch me paint, then they'd leave and bring other people to come watch me paint. There was one woman, I guess she knew people who are higher up in the company. She's like, no, we need to get you painting every single Marriott because this is amazing. This I'm gonna get my friends. And then she came back that evening, and then they were all hanging out by the pool, like drinking wine and swimming. And then they're like, "No, you tag him, you tag him, you tag him. Post this, post that." And I know this person in corporate. I'm tagging her on the post. We're getting you more work with every Marriott. You're gonna be traveling the country, because of me. So I thought that that was funny. I was laughing the whole time that she was saying that. But the fact that the general public love it, that's also important to me too, because I don't want to create artwork in a public realm that the public can't relate to. So I think that that's one of my standout moments. That knows this husband and wife that were there on vacation, and they found my Instagram and they kept getting the best photos from like their hotel room because they could see it from the hotel room. Every time they were somewhere, they'd get another picture, and then they kept sending it to my inbox and Instagram. I kept thanking them. I started posting everything. So I thought that that was awesome too. It was almost like they were involved in the process.
Yeah, and that's always fun to, for people to get involved, especially with something like art. So you said that you have this theme of like Florida's wildlife and stuff. So kind of what does that theme mean to you that you decided to actually create a whole, thematic art, centered on Florida's wildlife?
I think that it's important because we're also creating a visual record of these things. Some of these things might not be around anymore, God forbid. But I'll give you a perfect example. I did a really large mural. This was before the pandemic. So this was like probably 2019, 2018. And it was called Cherish Home. And it also dealt with the same theme, but I specifically focused on animals that were in danger, mostly animals that were in danger because of habitat loss. So it's stuff that we as people are doing and not even realizing we're doing it. It's not even that we're going out and hunting them and catching them and things like that, but they're losing their habitat. So because of that, their populations are dwindling. And there was a butterfly in there called the Miami blue, and it's down here on our beaches um and some of our natural areas close to water, the only places you were able to find it. And at that time, I think they said that there was only a given estimated amount of maybe 40 or 50 of them left in the pot in the wild, right? Now there are no more, which is crazy, you know? So they're still alive, but they're alive in private collections because there's certain organizations and foundations, like if you go to Butterfly World, they have a canopy that have them in there. But if it wasn't for places like that, there would literally be no more. You know, there's another bird was called is called a grasshopper sparrow. We see sparrows all the time, but we don't realize there's different types of sparrows, and they all serve different purposes within nature. And that's another one that was dwindling. I think at that time there was only a couple of hundred left in the population. And I'm not sure what their numbers are now, but I think that what's important is we're not only paying tribute to this, but it could create conversations and it creates a record of these things that were here.
So you kind of described my next question, which was what's the message that you want to convey with this mural? Is there anything else you would like to add to that?
I don't think so. I think I said everything basically.
Okay, well, it was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much again for taking the time, and good luck in Chicago.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was nice to meet you as well. Have a great day.
Woo.